This conference will now be recorded.
So in the last class, we have seen about the operators and if statement. Today, let us go initially with the explanation of first Java program, and after that, we will discuss about switch statement. So that is the objective of today's class. So let us initially go with explanation of first Java program. So this explanation is not 100%. Some of the points we may not understand exactly today. And when we go with the object oriented, once we complete object oriented, if you see this document again, you feel very simple to understand. But some of the points are important here. So let me write the first Java program. So we have taken like this / to display welcome message onto the screen. Then we have taken a class welcome. Then to run a Java program, main method public static void main string array args. And for main method again open and close curly brace. To display a message in Java, we use system class with a member out and with a method println, and the message should go in double quotes, and every statement should end with semicolon. Now, hello, Fatima.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Today we are going with the explanation of first Java program. So to elaborate this program, let me go with the line numbers so that I can refer to the line number to elaborate. Right. Let's start off with the line 1. So what is line 1 here? It's a comment line, right? It is a comment line used to document a program. What's the main purpose? To document a program means we can mention what is the purpose of the program, on which date you are writing the program, who is writing the program, or elaboration of your program, and ignored by compiler. And ignored by compiler. Compiler will not see what you are writing in that. And we are in two types of comments. They are // this is for single line comment, and /* and end with again // this is for multi-line comment. The next one, line 2. Line 2 is what? It's a class. It is a class. So why we have to create a class? The rule of Java is a Java program should contain minimum one class, because a Java program is a collection of classes. Line 3 and 8. This is open and close braces of class. Then the important line, line 4. What is this line 4 here? Public static void main string array args. This is the major line to discuss. Now, before we go to this line, let us understand one term, JVM. JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. JVM stands for what? Java Virtual Machine. So when we download and install Java on our operating system, it even installs JVM on your operating system. And the main use of JVM is once we write the code and when we compile the code, we get the .class file. So who is going to execute this .class file means JVM. So the main role of JVM is to act as an interface between your Java bytecode and operating system. You can say JVM acts as an interface between Java bytecode and operating system. So who is going to execute your Java bytecode on operating system means we say JVM. Then When we run a Java program, the JVM looks for main method inside the class. That's the reason we write main method. So you can say when a Java program is executed, JVM looks for main method in the class. JVM looks for what? Main method in the class. Why main method? Main method is the entry point to run a Java program. That's the reason we write main method inside class here. Now let us understand one word here. Why main is public? What is this public is? It's a keyword. Public is a keyword, means a predefined word where your language can understand. And what is this public is? Public is an access modifier. What is this public? It's an access modifier. The meaning of access modifier is permission, like a permission, whether to access or not. Like a simple example, if you take, let us suppose there is a shopping mall, there is a multiplex or shopping mall, whatever it may be. So can anyone enter into the multiplex? Is there any restriction for that? No restriction. That means it's a public access. That's the meaning of access here. Now let us suppose there is a movie theater in the mall, and can anyone enter into the movie theater directly? No, right? It is restricted. So we should have a ticket to enter. That's the meaning of access, whether to enter or not. Same thing. Public is also like a access modifier. Then public, when you make it public, public members are accessible outside the class or folder. When you make it public, we can access that member outside of the class or even folder. Then who is going to access this main method? JVM. So we have to give permission to JVM to enter. That's the reason main is public. So since JVM is outside the class or folder, to access main method by JVM, main method should be public. So more about public keyword, about access modifiers, we'll discuss when we come to object oriented. The next one, static. So in this, static is also a keyword. Static is a keyword. Now let us understand the need of static. If you take a class employee, and if you go with some data member like string, department name. Now if I want to give value to department name outside of the class, can we access it directly? Can we give department name directly like this outside of the class? Is it possible?
No.
No, right? So what we have to create to access department name now?
Object.
Object. Very good. We have to create what? Object here. So we create object of employee. We create object of employee. How to create objects is it? Class name object name equal to new class name. Now by using the object with the dot operator, now we can access. Means the point is, whenever you want to access the members of class, we need to create object of the class. Similar way, if you come to this program, is this main method belongs to welcome class? Is it a part of welcome class?
Yes.
So to access main method, did we create object of welcome class anyway?
No.
No, right? But we are able to enter into main because of which keyword? Static. So when you use the keyword static, object creation is not required. You need not create object of welcome. Without creating object of welcome, we can able to enter into main using the class name. By using class name, we can enter. That's the meaning of static. So because first we enter into main only, I can start writing program and I can start creating objects of other class. But first of all, how to enter into main without object? Using static, using the class name. So here also, if you make this member as static, then object creation is not required. Then how to give value to department name? Using the class name, now we can give the value to department name. That's the use of static. When you say static, object creation is not required. So what is the point here? Static members are accessible directly with the class name without creating objects. Without creating objects. Okay. Then more about static keyword again we discuss when we come to object oriented. Now the next one, void. This is the main thing to discuss for today. Void is also keyword, and the meaning of void is void means no return type. Void means what? No return type. So let us understand what is this return type concept. That's the main objective of today's return type. Before we go to what is this return type, let us understand about a method. A method or function, anything you can call. A method or function is a collection of statements used to do a specific task. We create a method and that method will do a specific task. Like example, we want to find area of a rectangle. In order to find area of a rectangle, we create a method called as area_rect. The method name is your wish. And we end with the parentheses like this. We have to give the method name and end with parentheses. Then open and close curly brace where we keep the statements. This is how the method looks. Now, in order to find area of a rectangle, what input do you require? Length and breadth, right?
Length
What
and
do you
width.
require? Length and breadth. So the input what we require, we have to pass in between the parentheses like this: int length, int breadth. So the data required to perform the task, that input required to perform the task, that we have to pass in between arguments, and this we call it as length and breadth, are called as arguments. We call them as arguments or parameters. We call them as arguments or parameters. Then, now to find area, we require a variable area and will formula is length into breadth. Since we are using a variable area here, we have to declare. So I'm declaring area variable and we are saying area equal to length into breadth. Now, like this, we call defining the method. This we call it as what? Defining the method means we write the code inside the method. Now, calling the method. How to call the method is we have to take the method name area_rect and pass the values 10, 5. This when you end with semicolon, we say calling. Now, when you call the method, this 10 and 5 will go and store into length and breadth. Then the value of area will be what? Now 50. 10 into 5, 50. Now this 50 what you are having in area, that I want to give it back to this method. I want to give that output back here. So how to give that value out is by using a keyword return area. So when you say return area, the 50 will come and store into this method name. Then you can store it into some other variable and you can print it here. So what value it's going to print here? For us 50. It's going to print 50. So that is the use of return here. Return means after doing calculation, if I want to give some value outside of your method, we give that value by using return keyword. Then whatever the value you are returning, this area is what data type? Integer. So before the method name, we have to mention the type of data what you are returning. So whatever the data type you are mentioning before method name, that only we call it as return type. This only we call it as what? Return type. Okay, the type of data the method is returning. Now, if you take the method, same method, but you are not returning anything, you are printing here. The value of area you are printing here only. I don't want to give that value outside of your method. Since you are not returning any value outside, we have to use a keyword void. Void means what? No return type. You are not returning any value outside. So that's the reason Void means what? No written type. So why main method is void? Because main method does not return any value back to JVM. Clear everyone? The meaning of method and the concept of written type, everyone? Any questions?
No.
So in future also, like maybe day after tomorrow, I'll go with some programs where I make use of methods in our program. Okay. The next one, main, and the argument what you are passing to main is string array args. Let us understand about this argument. String array args. Whenever we see square brackets, they are arrays. And once we complete basics, we'll go with arrays topic. Now, string is a predefined class. It's a class. String array args is used to store command line arguments. So command line arguments is one way of giving the input to the program. Like example, when you are running the program, at your command prompt, we use the command Java and we pass the name of the class, and we can pass some values after the class name separated by space. Java, the class name, and we can pass some values separated by space. And these values X, Y, and Z are command line arguments. These three values only we call command line arguments. And these three values will go and store into this array args. Means args of 0 contains, because array index starts with 0. More about this I'll discuss when we come to arrays topic. Contains a value X. Args of 1 contains a value Y. Args of 2 contains a value Z. Okay. So more about what is arrays, what is command line arguments, everything I'll be taking programmatically in the next classes. The next one, line 5 and 7. This is open and close braces of main method. One more line, line 6. What is that? System.out.println. The use of system.out.println is, it is used to display messages or the value of variables or both onto the screen. And in this system, it is a predefined class. What is this system? It's a predefined class. Then out. Can anyone say out is an object of which class? Anyone having idea?
System class?
System.
Yeah, maximum people will say it is an object of system class. Remember from today, it is not an object of system class. Remember, it's not an object of system class. Then what is this out? I'm writing some internal code. I'm writing about system class. If you take class system, this out, it is a data member of system class. Like just now we have seen class employee with a department name. So department name is a data member of system class, not object. Okay. So similar way, out is a data member of system class and it is an object of class print stream. It's an object of which class? Print stream. And do one more observation. Are we accessing out directly with the class name or object? System, is it a class or object here?
Class.
Class. So when we access a member of class directly with the class name, that member should be what here? Static. It is a static member. So what is this out? It is a data member of system class and it is an object of class print stream and it is static. Then println, can you guess? It's a method of which class? Println is a method of which class?
Print string.
Very good, print string, because only the object of the class can call their methods. So who is calling println? Object out. Out is an object of which class? Print string. So it is a method of method of parent stream class, right? So it's a small elaboration of the document, but still we don't know what is class, what is object, what is method properly, what is static, what is access modifier. So don't worry too much more on this. Once we complete object oriented, if you come back to this document, you feel 100% elaboration. Clear everyone? Just some terminologies are important. That's the main reason why I discussed this explanation today. Okay. Any questions, anyone? No. Let us move to the next topic today. Switch statement. The use of switch statement is like when some options are given, among that options you want to choose only one option. You can select. It is used to choose an option among the given set of options. Given set of options. It is mainly used for menu driven applications. It's mainly for what? Menu driven applications. Like example, if you take ATM, when you go to ATM, in that ATM you will see some options like withdraw, pin change, mini statement, balance inquiry, like that. Out of that options, how many options can you choose at one time?
One
One.
option.
Only one, right? At one time, only one option. Such type of cases we go for switch statement. Some menu is given to us. Among that, you want to choose only one option. In that case, we go for switch. And the syntax of switch is we use a keyword switch and we go with the expression. Open and close curly brace. Then we use a keyword case. Then option 1. If the value of expression is matching with option 1, then we execute the statements under option 1. Once we execute the statements of option 1, if you don't want to go to other options, we'll use a keyword break. Break is used to come out a switch. Case option 2. Statements under option 2. Then say break. Like that. Case option 3. Statements under option 3. Break. Like that. How many cases we want, we can have. And case option n. Statements under option n. Break. Then one more keyword default. Statements under default. Right there. So let me explain one more time. If the expression is matching with option 1, it will execute the statements of option 1, comes out using break. If expression is matching with option 2, it will execute the statements of option 2, comes out using break. If expression is matching with option n, it will execute the statements of option n, comes out using break. If expression is not matching with any one of the options, then it will execute the statements present in default. When it comes to default, when expression is not matching with other options. Now let us suppose if there is no break here. If there is no break. Now let us suppose expression is matching with option 1. It will execute the statements of option 1. Since no break, it will even go to statements of option 2. Since no break, it will even go to statements of option 3. And when it sees break, comes out. So if no break, what will happen? It will just execute the statements of other options. So let me document points on switch statement. If expression is not matching with any one of the options, then it will execute the statements present in default. Yeah. Hello, Madan.
Hi, sir.
Okay, right. Default, is it mandatory or optional? Means default is optional. Then, should we write default only at the last, or can we write anywhere in between? Is it, if I write anywhere in between, is it syntactically correct? Will it go with any error? Should we write default only at the last, or can we write anywhere in between cases? Is it correct like this? No problem at all. It can be anywhere in between the options. Generally we write at the last, but it can be anywhere. Default can be anywhere in between the options. Okay, generally we write at the last. What is the use of break? Break is used to come out of switch. If break is not used, then it will execute the statements present in other options until break. Now, very important point, expression should be of type integer. The expression what you pass to switch should be of what type here? Integer. Means I can even pass byte, short or char because of implicit casting. Because of implicit casting, we can even pass this data type. From Java 7 version, expression can be of type string. From Java 7, expression can be of what type? String also. Like example, if you take a string fruit equal to apple, then you can say switch of fruit. This is not allowed before Java 7, but from Java 7, the expression can be of what type? String type. Then you can say case apple. Then you can go with some message apple, something your wish. Case mango. Let's go to mango like this. Okay. Now let us understand more of this switch using an example program. Write a program to accept two numbers and display the following options. Means menu. I'm going with the menu. 1 add, 2 subtract, 3 multiply, 4 divide. Then display result based on the user choice. Display result based on the user choice. Now the meaning is, like example, if you take two numbers like n1 equal to 10, n2 equal to 5, and if my choice is 1, then what should be the value of result? Result should be
15.
15. You should add the two numbers. If we take two numbers like 10 and 5, and if my choice is 3, then what should be the value of result?
50.
50. 10 into 5, 50. If my two numbers are 10 and 5, and if my choice is 8, so there is no option 8 here. So we have to display a message, invalid choice. Okay, that's a task here. A simple calculator code. Let us go with the code calculator.java. Open Eclipse. Right click on project and say new class. Give the class name calculator with main method. Now import scanner. import java.util.scanner, create object of scanner, connect to keyboard. There. Now go with the message, enter two numbers. We'll say int n1 equal to s dot next int, int n2 equal to s dot next int. Now after accepting the numbers, we want to display the menu to the user, because if you are not displaying menu to the user, how user knows what option to choose? That's the reason we have to display the menu to the user. How to display menu? Simple. In system.out.println, you can say 1 means add, 2 means subtract, 3 means multiply, 4 means divide. Now go with the message to the user, enter your choice, enter your choice. So the user will enter some choice like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or any other number. That let us store into ch variable. Whatever the choice the user is entering, will store it into ch variable. Now we have to check whether this ch is 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. How to check? Switch off ch. Case 1 means if the value of choice is 1 means add, what we should do? Take a variable result and add the two numbers. And once we add two numbers, we don't want to go to other options, then we'll say break. Now since we have taken the variable result, so we have to declare it. So I'm declaring the result variable. Now case 2, result equal to n1 minus n2, subtraction, break. Case 3, result equal to n1 into n2, break. Case 4, division, result equal to n1 by n2. Default, if the user enters any other option, then we'll go with the message invalid choice. Once we come out of switch, we'll display the value of result equal to the value of result. Now do one small observation. In line number 23, can you see a compile time error?
Yes.
That's right, there is a compile time error because it is a local variable. What is this? This result is a local variable, and if I go with the choice as 8, then these cases will not get executed. Then what value of result it has to display? So we have taken a local variable, but there is no value to local variable. That's the reason. See what message it's saying? The local variable result might not have been initialized. So when you take any local variable, and if there is no value to local variable, but if you are trying to use that, then it is going to give compile time error. That's the reason we have to initialize the local variable. Now run the code. It will ask you two numbers. I'll say 10 and 5, and it will display the menu. If I say one choice, it is going to show the result as 15. If you run the code again, if you take the 10 numbers like 10 and 5, and if I say 3, the result is 50. If you run the code now, if I say 10 and 5, and if you say the option as 8, then it is going to display a message invalid choice and result is 0. Once we say invalid choice, once you go with the message invalid choice, I don't want to display the result message. I don't want to display this message. Just I want to go with only message invalid choice. Then the solution is, after displaying invalid choice, we don't want the program to get continued. I don't want to come to this line at all. Then once we say invalid choice, we want to terminate the program. How to terminate is by using a class system which contains a method exit, and you can pass any integer value, any integer. Okay, and the use of this method is comes out of program. What is the use of exit method? Anywhere we use it is going to come out of program. Now see now when you run, if I pass 10 and 5 and if I give the option as 8, we get only the message invalid choice. Got it everyone? The need of switch statement.
Yes.
Right? I'll take one more very good example in tomorrow's class also in the loops. When I go with loops now, I'll take one more realistic example using switch statement. Now, understand carefully. Let me remove break here. We are removing break. Now, let us suppose my two numbers are 10 and 5. My first number is 10, second number is 5, and my choice is 1. Then, what is the output of this program now?
Multiplication.
I want to say the value.
Division.
Result equal to what we get?
Division.
50.
Division means what is our answer? 10 by 5? 2, right? 10 by 5, what we get here? 2. See here, when you run, if you take two numbers like 10 and 5, and my choice is even 1 also, we get result as 2. The reason is, see here, first, it's going to allocate memory for result. Initial value is 0. Initial value is 0. Now, when it comes to case 1, the value of result will become 15. So the value of result will become now 15. And since there is no break here, since no break, it will even go to the case 2 statements. Now the value of result will become 5. Since no break, it will even go to case 3. The value of result will become 50. Since no break, it will even go to case 4. The value of result will become 2. And since break comes out of switch and displays the result value as 2 here. Clear everyone? If no break, what will happen? It will just go to the statements of other options until it says break. Clear?
Yes.
So anyone having any questions up to here? Okay, practice all this and let me go with an assignment for today. Only one program. Write a program to check whether the given character is vowel or consonant. Okay, for this we have to use switch to check whether the given character is vowel or consonant. How to read a character using scanner that you can browse. Don't search for the complete program. How to read a character in Java using scanner class. That you browse it in Google. And once you know how to read a character, then apply the logic to check whether the given character is vowel or consonant, and do that one using switch statement. Okay, so that's a task for you. And in tomorrow's class, I will go with the next one, loops, where I'm going to discuss tomorrow while loop and do while loop. Both the things will complete tomorrow. And next day, after tomorrow, I'll go with for loop, break and continue. With that, we close the basics part. Okay, then we'll go with arrays, then object-oriented programming. Okay, that's a plan. So thank you very much. Thank you all, and see you tomorrow with while loop and do while loop.
Thank you.